Hi, this is Jim Reavis, and welcome back to the Cloud Security Alliance AI Summit. I hope you've been enjoying the different sessions, programs. I'm very excited about what we have coming for you right now. So we're going to talk about a document from CISA and just sort of get introduced to what they're doing in AI. So the session's called Guidelines for Secure AI Systems Development. And I'm Jim Reavis, CEO of Cloud Security Alliance, and with me is Christine Lai from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, in the US. And I'd like to welcome you, Christine. And I'd like if you could just sort of introduce yourself and your role at CISA, a high-level view of CISA's plans to address AI security and safety, and then we'll go to the topic after that.
Yeah, thanks for the interview. I'm, again, Christine Lai from the Office of the Technical Director in CISA's Cybersecurity Division. I spent most of my career as a cybersecurity and machine learning researcher, and I've been framing our agency's approach to AI security. This is essentially structured around the 5 lines of effort described in our AI roadmap, which is published on CISA.gov. So for the first line of effort, we're looking to responsibly leverage AI technologies so that we can fully capitalize on their potential to improve US cyber defense. And second, we're developing guidance and assisting stakeholders on the development of AI systems that are secure by design. So these stakeholders include federal civilian agencies, state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, as well as private sector companies. Third, we're assessing risks to critical infrastructure, and we're working with both government and industry partners to address those risks. Fourth, we're collaborating with and communicating with our partners to advance best practices for AI at a national scale. And for the fifth and final effort, we're expanding AI expertise in our workforce. These last 2 items, which are collaboration and workforce development, are really critical enablers in achieving success on all of the AI security goals we have in our roadmap.
So, Christine, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you and to get input from CISA on what we're doing at Cloud Security Alliance with AI. And just with our past history with CISA, we've seen that although you define very well what your constituency is, we've seen a real sort of global influence from CISA's work over the years that we've worked with you. And so thanks for that. And we're going to go dive into this topic, this guidelines for secure AI system development. And I wanted for you to, because it's such a very impressive list of collaborating organizations, what was the genesis for this publication? What are the goals, and then who's the audience for this document?
Yeah, so CISA developed this set of guidelines jointly with the National Cybersecurity Center, or NCSC, in the UK. And I'd really like to express our great appreciation for their leadership on this publication. If you're familiar with some of CISA's Secure by Design publications, what we're looking to do is to shift the balance of risks from end users to software technology providers and developers. And this is inclusive of AI software systems. So while the audience for this document includes the broader set of stakeholders, it's aimed primarily at AI system providers that are using AI models and APIs that are hosted by another organization. And CISA has been working with our international peers as well as industry partners on our Secure by Design efforts. And the collaborators for these guidelines are a natural extension of our Secure by Design efforts.
Great. And I think that makes like a tremendous amount of sense, the focus here, because we're going to see adopters of AI and generative AI that really are of every size and someone with very limited resources. So I think that makes a lot of sense, and kudos for what you've been able to put together. So I think people saw there, we had on the screen, I'm going to let you go through them. Like this is organized into 4 different major areas of the guidance, which I'd sort of look at as this is a life cycle somewhat. So why don't we start with that first one and secure design. What are you looking to accomplish in that area? What are you looking to articulate?
Yeah, so basically the 4 major areas of the guidance are adapted from the more traditional software development lifecycle. So for secure design, we're basically covering the design stage of AI system development. So that includes threat modeling and risk assessment. In this phase, we're considering the balance of opportunities and trade-offs we have between security principles and other risk elements. Those risk elements might include things like transparency and reliability.
Cool. So then we get into the development itself. Secure development is the second area. What are you trying? What do you want people to get out of that as they are looking into this guidance?
Yeah, and secure development, which is the next phase, we include guidelines around understanding your development assets and processes. That includes documentation of your supply chain and how an organization would manage their total attack surface.
Cool. Good. And so then let's go to the next area, and that's secure deployment.
Yeah, so secure deployment essentially covers guidance around applying security to assets and infrastructure during deployment. This involves evaluating your organizational processes for things like incident response, as well as responsible release of AI systems.
Cool. Yep, makes sense. And then finally, we get to secure operation and maintenance.
Yeah, for secure operation and maintenance, we cover security after deployment. So we want to be using any of the processes identified in the first 3 stages, and also establish appropriate monitoring and logging of your system, updates and patching, and collection and sharing of lessons learned.
Yep. Cool. I think this probably resonates very much with the listeners we have here. So, as I look through this, it looks like this collective effort did take a lot of like experienced and well-vetted traditional secure development best practices and provided like really good context for AI. And just the topic is moving so quickly. It's like one week, it can't do this, and then the next week, oh yeah, we figured out how to do this. And so, sort of philosophically, I'm wondering if how organizations are going to that are the target for this guidance that you put together. Is they're going to emerge like AI specific secure development, or is this a matter of integrating AI into broader secure development efforts? Do you have thoughts on where that might go?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What we think is that AI risk management should be seen as an extension of general technology risk management. So the intent of publishing this guidance is to build upon existing security principles, such as NIST Secure Software Development Framework, while also highlighting risks that are brought to the forefront by more modern implementations of AI, and in particular, machine learning pipelines. The secure development practices that organizations use today are applicable to all AI systems. So whilst some of the threats addressed in the guidance, such as adversarial machine learning, might require some AI-specific expertise and skill sets to address, AI systems are essentially hardware and software systems. So AI security is essentially cybersecurity, and we shouldn't treat it in isolation from that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, one of the comments we've gotten from several of the AI companies is just the use of AI for like scanning of code to find vulnerabilities real quickly. Like that's something they're seeing as like AI impacting the actual development process and maybe some of the threat vectors. Is that like, do you agree? Is that something that we gotta really look at how AI itself is going to impact just the mechanics of the software development lifecycle?
Yeah, so we looked and surveyed the broader landscape of AI-driven threats, but there was nothing specific within the threat space that drove the recommendations you see here today. One of the challenges we have around securing AI and also securing adversarial use of AI is that it's currently experiencing a period of rapid growth and adoption. So since AI is constantly evolving, we need to continuously review all the potential threats, whether they might be known or unknown, present or future. Since we expect our adversaries to consider that total landscape of both non-traditional and traditional AI software vulnerabilities, the guidelines are intended to assist organizations in understanding the entirety of the attack surface they need to defend. So we understand that a lot of what's outlined in this document isn't new, and that's deliberate. We're trying to remind the community that basic cybersecurity principles like defense in depth and least privilege access are still applicable to securing AI systems, and that systems should be configured to be secure by default. That would help against vulnerabilities, regardless of the threat space.
That makes a lot of sense. So you are sort of predicting or feeling like that, like some threats that people are seeing today as they red team AI systems, those could be threats that stick around or they could be very transient. And so you're trying to have a higher level of abstraction on this, that's just a continuous thing. And there's going to be new threats a few months from now that we may not predict. And so we have to have that process in place. So that's how you're thinking about it. Yeah. Yep. Cool. So, as I looked at this, it's not called out specifically in the document. Yeah, but are organizations that are looking to incorporate AI into their DevOps framework, so say they're already like fairly like good and mature about continuous integration, continuous deployment. Do you think they're well positioned, better positioned than organizations that maybe aren't as mature in that area?
Yeah, so organizations should already be taking more of a DevSecOps approach to DevOps. And what that entails is conducting a holistic review and integration of security principles into each stage of the software development process. And from that perspective, our recommendations around secure AI development aren't really new or unique. organizations need to ensure that security is addressed at each stage of AI system development and that their developers have adequate access to resources and tools to apply security at each of these stages. So we should aim to make security as easy as possible for the end user and to do as much as possible to ensure that security isn't an afterthought. So security should be incorporated into DevOps frameworks as something that occurs before, during, and after system deployment.
Great. So this is definitely something that is, as organizations that are mature there, they're looking at it. This document, I think, provides them a really good sort of overlay just to make sure, provide assurance that they are covering those critical areas, which, as you said, are not necessarily unique to AI, but will be very important in addressing it. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So the one thing that, like, for me, the biggest takeaway as I read through this document that I wanted to chat with you about is, you know, the mention of supply chains was prevalent throughout this guidance, as well as in like the reference areas. And when people go look at it, I think there's a really good sort of list of further reading they should go do. It's like a page or two deep in there. So that's this. I think there's a lot of things we could talk about here, but it seems to like indicate to me that we're going to see this AI. We're going to see generative AI just very pervasive soon, or we at least got to plan for that when you're managing your risks. That's the development people might do directly, but you're seeing like app stores come up with these, and SaaS providers are all sort of racing to incorporate this in their systems. So, you know, what do you think about that? And is that sort of what drove so much time spent on supply chains in this document?
Yeah, so the reason why supply chains are referred to so often in this document is that they're key to the software development lifecycle that we've been talking so much about. AI is software, so it has the same supply chain dependencies as other software, which includes dependencies on hardware, networking and cloud infrastructure, and software packages and libraries. But we want to emphasize that AI technologies, including machine learning applications, are already being employed in critical infrastructure across all sectors of industry, whether people know it or not. So it's crucial that organizations stay aware of where they're currently using AI, how they're connecting to systems that are currently or will be employing AI, where they plan to deploy AI in the future, and where the relevant supply chain dependencies lie at all stages of the AI system lifecycle, so that they can adequately address their risks.
Yeah, I think that's just critical. And, you know, what you said there with not even knowing that this is part of mission critical or critical infrastructure systems is so important for people to understand. And even if you as an organization think, oh, we're going to go slow with our AI roadmap, you may find that through your third-party acquisition, you may be further into it than you know or think. And just as a sideline from like what we're trying to do at Cloud Security Alliance, I think we're trying to figure out that how we have that right level of transparency that is in place. So, you know, modern applications are a mashup of APIs and different services and different organizations. And so, you know, that supply chain software bill of materials, I think, is just going to be so important in how we manage these risks. So, you know, well done in terms of what was put together there. So, as we get ready to close this out, Christine, there's, the idea of where we go from here. And I'm certain CISA is going to continue a lot of work in building out efforts like this, build upon this document, this guidance, and for your constituency. What aspirationally would you like to see next, and maybe what would you like to see the industry from the industry to expand upon the best practices you've articulated here?
Yeah, so if you aren't familiar with what CISA does as an agency, um, CISA serves as both the operational lead for federal cybersecurity and as the national coordinator for critical infrastructure security and resilience. And critical infrastructure includes AI systems. So our agency is designed for collaboration and partnership. And the guidelines are just one step of a continuous process of engagement. We're really interested in working closely with industry to expand upon the best practices that we've outlined with more tailored approaches. And whether you're from the private sector or the public sector, we're basically using guidance documents such as this to call on the greater community to work with us, to reach out and drive forward AI security.
That's, I think, an awesome mission. And let me just, before we close this out here, let me make sure that we provide the reference point to what we had been talking about here. So here's a place for more information on where you can find out more about CISA more broadly, their AI focus, their roadmap, as well as the guideline document that Christine's been kind enough to provide us more insights on. So I want to thank you very much, Christine. Any final words?
I want to say thank you for having me here today and giving me the opportunity to speak to the broader audience about our guidelines documents. Please do reach out to the Cloud Security Alliance if you have any questions for us.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Christine. And I hope you all have enjoyed this session and get ready for the next session upcoming in just a few minutes. Thank you.